I'm Mark, and I've been homeless on and off for about 13 years. On and off, not continuous.
Yeah, I studied at school. I did also my exams for teaching skiing when I was 15. I had a good life working in France, Switzerland, Austria. Only till 5 years ago when I came back to this country, everything seemed to be on stop.
I used to work on the forklift truck, but now I suffer from diabetes and epilepsy, so I'm not allowed to drive.
I wasn't happy with my job because I was working as a probation officer with sex offenders and I had 3 young children. So that started playing with my head and the doctors diagnosed me with depression. My wife didn't like me having me around the house, so we started arguing. So I started to go off and see friends and I started smoking drugs. Heroin, yeah. And when she found out, she packed my stuff and threw me out of the house. Obviously, I was paying a mortgage, but I couldn't take any of the settees, the TV, because I'd be taking my children's stuff. So I slept in my car for about 3 months, and I ended up sleeping in a park for 6 months. You know, and I missed that, seeing my daughter and my 2 young boys growing up, and I missed the lifestyle. Obviously, I missed my job. A horrible drug to be addicted to. Horrible.
I don't really get on with my mother because, well, I get on with my mother, but it's my stepfather that I don't get on with because of the life that I led. He didn't want to know me when my son died and I got into drugs and all. So I speak to my mother-in-law on the phone and my dad-in-law, my proper dad, not my stepdad, on the phone and things like. But I don't see them much, but they know the situation, yeah. Well, first, my mother, like I said, used to help me a lot, and I used to go and stay at my mother's on odd nights and things. When my mother got with my stepdad, I seen the change my mother. She was very sad before she got married, but then when she got married, she was happy. And she said that she would, leave my stepdad for, to give me stability or but I seen that she was happy and I didn't want that for her. I just wanted my mum to be happy, really, I suppose. So, but she did give me the choice to go back home. But then she wouldn't be with my stepdad now, I suppose, so I chose not to.
I was brought up as a Catholic. I was confirmed, baptised, all that. I've been through the whole church system since I was a toddler. My parents are Catholic, they've been to see the Pope. They're strict Catholics, my parents. I was even an altar boy when I was a little kid. I travelled around a lot. I worked in the winter season. I generally had the money to go and travel in the summer. So I've been to New Zealand, Bulgaria, most of Europe, Australia, went to Thailand, Vietnam. I lived in France myself for 20 odd years. Belgium, Holland. I have been to a lot of countries and seen a bit what's happening. My parents lived in Spain for 20 odd years. I don't think they know really the situation. They're a bit old, my parents, and couldn't really go and use what my problems are. They've got their own problems, so they don't know too much about what's going on, I don't think. I don't tell them too much. Most
of the people who are homeless, I hate to say this, but it's self-inflicted. It's either they haven't paid their rent because they've chose to spend their money on drugs, they've chose to spend their money on alcohol, shoplifting, they go to prison, they lose their flat. So you tend to find that homelessness is their own fault. I might sound a bit harsh, but that's me being truthful. In my own experience, my homelessness was all my own doing.
Have you ever asked people on the street for money?
No chance. Never, ever, ever. Well, I couldn't. It angers me. I think that's really invasive. Somebody saying, "Can you give me £1?" It's only for drugs. It's not for food. It's for drugs.
I ended up shoplifting from a shop, and I ended up going to prison. That's what got me off the heroin, but I wasn't in long enough to get off the methadone. So when I come out, I just choose not to take it anymore, and I've done it up until now. And fingers crossed, I have shoplifted to put myself in prison in the past, yes. When it's been cold or whatever outdoor.
Newport, because there's this place you can come to, the Salvation Army, which is just down the road, and there's a church up at the top here. The Salvation Army and the church at the top, they have different ways to this place here. Everyone functions differently, whereas here you'd have to pay for a slice of bread. You can go up to the other places, they'll give you, whereas before we could go and have free meals, now unless you have a referral from someone, you can't have any food. This is a referral, so you can go and collect a bag of food. Unfortunately, most of it you have to cook, so if you have no way of cooking, there's a lot of food you got in your cupboard. Job seekers allowance. They allow you up to £71 a week, which is £142 a fortnight. With that, you've got to pay your water rates, your electric bills, your gas bills. By the time you paid your bills, you're struggling to buy food. So we come to these places where you can have sometimes food cheaply, but at least you have some food. You
do see trouble, but I think really when Newport is a small city, the homeless people sort of stick together, If they see me in trouble or something, I'd like to think they'd help me because I think I'd help them if they were, But I haven't never been anywhere else really to see what it's like anywhere else, but, it's, I know everybody, and they know everybody as well on the streets. We all know each other,
A lot of people sleep in the underground or away from people. Too vulnerable, sleeping like that. People attack you or rob you or set your sleeping bag on fire. Funny enough, we had real bad snow 2 years ago, and it was a covering of snow for about 6 weeks, and we built an igloo, and we lived in an igloo.
In the cemeteries, you've got the toilets. At least you can go to the toilet. There's normally toilet paper and water, and it's quiet. And not many people like cemeteries because they're afraid. It's a nice, quiet place to sleep, I'll be honest. That's my favourite place, is by the cemetery.
I have a wash or a shower every day. I mean, you've got Salvation Army, there's places you can shower every day. I mean, not everybody on the streets wants to, I suppose, but I always do, as long as I keep clean as all the matters.
Well, I made the decision because I come from a good background. My brother's a barrister, my father went to Oxford University, and I'm well educated. I thought, staying on drugs is not going to get me out of homelessness. So I made the decision to give up drugs. So I last used drugs in November the 16th, 2010, which is 2.5 years ago. So then I found gradually things started to improve. I got money to put a deposit down on a flat. My dad started speaking to me again, my mum started speaking to me again, my brother started speaking to me again. They didn't talk to me for over a year. It was probably the best thing that could have happened. At the time, you're thinking, how could you do this to me? I'm your son. But when you look back, it was a good thing. It was a gradual process that took 2 years, It wasn't a case of giving up immediately. I done it, and I used my kids and my family as a motivation.
Yeah, I don't mind helping anybody if I can do a good deed, or if someone needs a help with a pushchair on a bus, or a lady needs a hand onto the bus. I'm still a good person inside. I've not changed and become, which a lot of people give up hope and become alcoholics and become the druggies that they are today. It's not their fault. It's because they're squashed into a corner, they don't know what to do, the right people aren't helping them. And a lot of people I've known have died in the last 5 years I've lived in Newport. Just because they're not getting the right help.
The one thing that I really want, the goal in my future, is to be off methadone. Just methadone in my own flat, that's all. That's all I really want.
Let's try and make the second half of my life. In the last 15, 20 years with my mum and dad, let's try and make them happy. That's my approach.